Our California tour continues as we move up north to San Francisco. We're at AT&T Park. Last time the D-backs were here, they won 3 of 4 from the Giants. Back tonight for the first of 3 against a Giants team that has baseball's best record since April 20th. Giants got in late last night. They had a cross-country flight after playing a night game in New York yesterday. So the D-backs with a day off here in San Francisco, set to go on Fox Sports Arizona. And good evening from AT&T Park. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly along the way. It is the Diamondbacks and the defending World Series champs, first of 3. The Giants did not take batting practice today, so they may be a little tired after their game against the Mets in New York last night. Your pitching matchup, Chase Anderson for Arizona, and last year's postseason hero Bob Madison Bumgarner on the mound for the Giants.
Yeah, Bumgarner having no problems registering decisions, but that's not the case for Chase Anderson. Good on the road this year. In his 6 road starts, he has his only victory of the season, ERA under 3. Madison Bumgarner's good at home. On the road doesn't really matter, but only 2 wins here at AT&T Park. I'm sure the Giants would like to jack that number up a little bit.
Diamondbacks faced Mad Bum April 16th here at this ballpark. 4 runs, 6 hits in 7 innings. He gave up a couple of home runs as well.
Yeah, they really did a nice job of taking advantage of mistakes. Bumgarner very much a control and command pitcher, keeps it out of the middle of the plate, but he made some mistakes in that game, and the Diamondbacks hit him pretty good.
So it's Bumgarner for the Giants and Chase Anderson for the Diamondbacks. The shortstop battle, one to watch in this series as well. A few years ago, the Giants had a shortstop, Brandon Crawford, who was all glove, a very little hit, but the bat has really come around. He's a real run producer now in this lineup. And that's kind of, Bob, I think, where Diamondbacks fans would like to see Nick Ahmed end up.
That'd be a nice career path to follow. Nick really struggled early in the season, but we've seen him really pick up the pace offensively lately. Of course, there is absolutely nothing wrong with his glove. It seems like every series we have a matchup of 2 superior defensive players, whether it's the center fielders, the first baseman, or in the case of this series, the shortstop. Brandon Crawford, an outstanding defender in his own right.
And his bat has come around as well. He's leading the Giants in homers and RBIs this year. They are again without Hunter Pence, who went back on the DL today with a wrist problem. So we are just about ready for first pitch here at AT&T Park. Anderson and Bumgarner, the Diamondbacks, and the Giants. Hotter than an Arizona summer right now. A.J. Pollock will check out his numbers over the last month or so and get you set for baseball here from San Francisco. Back with more after this.
You in part by Cox Gigablast. How will you live the gig life? By Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. And by Jack in the Box. Taste the new black pepper cheeseburger today, only at Jack in the Box.
McCovey Cove here in San Francisco. Just about set for baseball here. The Diamondbacks and the San Francisco Giants, as they always say here. And how about the year, Bob, that A.J. Pollock has put up? It's hard to find a player, certainly an outfielder, over the last month or so that's put up better numbers than these.
Boy, and you know, we know A.J. plays stellar defense on a daily basis, got great speed on the bases, and has really been hitting the ball well. You see where he ranks among National League outfielders. Got a pretty good jump on that stolen base. But, yeah, A.J. hopefully will start to pick up some recognition here, get some more all-star votes, because he certainly deserves to go this year.
Yeah, game-tying homer in the 9th inning at Dodger Stadium on Wednesday, his 8th of the year. That's tied his career high. And A.J. in the lineup tonight, batting second for Chip Hale's Diamondbacks. Chase Anderson will be on the mound. He has never pitched in this ballpark before, so Chase gets set for his AT&T Park debut against Madison Bumgarner. First pitch coming up on Fox Sports Arizona.
Power from Arizona Federal Credit Union. Now that's the power of us. By Oregano's, your neighborhood pizza joint. By Goodwill, find quirky, current, and crazy cool stuff. And by Bud Light, stay in the game and drink responsibly.
From what I know, it's a good pitcher's park. Giants obviously are a good team. They're emerging. Their offense has come alive lately. So just keep doing what I'm doing, compete. You know, establish the fastball, throw the sinker. You know, just try to get outs. That's the goal every time I go out there. But new atmosphere, great place to pitch, like I said, and then the fans are awesome. So it's going to be a cool baseball environment to be in.
Well, Chase Anderson looking forward to tonight's start, his first against the Giants. Jody Jackson back with you. Now, Chase Anderson has pitched very well this year in 11 starts, but his 9 no decisions, well, that leads the major leagues. So Chase, of course, looking for some run support tonight. D-backs facing Madison Bumgarner on the other side. Now, Chase made 21 starts last season in his first almost full season here at the major leagues, and it took him a little bit of time to realize you have to make adjustments between starts. So with that said, going into his second season, I asked Chase what he's doing differently to sustain what he needs to do for the entire season.
I would say that pitching has been changing the routine a little bit. As far in between, not throwing as much, but doing different workouts and stuff like that, getting some more soft tissue work, just refining my craft and just trying to stay healthy as long as possible. But yeah, my routine's changed a little bit, just running wise, lifting wise, so I'm in better shape. I've kept my weight on better this year, and I feel better, so that's a good thing.
Do you have trouble with that, keeping your weight up?
Yeah, for me, I've always had a high metabolism. I can go out and eat, 30 quarter pounders from McDonald's and probably not gain a pound. But yeah, I know. But the last year I was, end of the year maybe 180, 185. This year I'm, between 190 and 195. So I'm just trying to stay there, and I've been able to achieve that goal. So I think that's going to be a big part of keeping my durability up there.
We see you doing a lot of the stuff with like bands and stretching, things like that. Have you always done that?
Yeah, I've done the bands for a long time. That's really helped with shoulder strength because I had a little shoulder issue like my second spring training, just in the back of my arm. And ever since I've done the bands, my arms felt really good. Obviously I've had some elbow issues in the past, but just doing the shoulder stuff, and that's kind of the foundation of your arm anyways. You keep that strong and all the stress goes there, and in your legs, the elbow kind of just follows and, can stay healthy.
And Chase, prior to last year, did have some injury issues, so he knows exactly what he needs to do to stay healthy and continue pitching well for the Diamondbacks. Meanwhile, when we come back, first pitch coming your way, it is Game 1 from AT&T Park of this weekend's 3-game series. It's next here on Fox Sports Arizona.
Madison Bumgarner, seems hard to imagine he's still just 25 years old. And we've certainly seen a lot of Mad Bum the last few years. This is his 20th career start against the Diamondbacks. He's out there tonight after their long trip back overnight from New York City to play the Mets. He is your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for the Giants tonight. For a scouting report, here's Chip Hale.
Well, I think both times we faced him, I felt like we battled him. We know he's going to come in there. He's going to throw strikes. He's going to challenge the guys. And I think they take that challenge. And we got to get the ball in the middle of the plate more, because once he starts hitting those corners, he becomes tough. So we're going to be ready early in the count to get him. It's not a guy that we're probably going to be able to pitch count and get to their bullpen. So we're going to have to knock him out of the game if we're going to do it.
And the Diamondbacks were able to do that against Mad Bum back on the 16th of April. They banged out 6 hits and 4 runs against him. You heard Chip say it. You have to take advantage. You have to be ready to attack pitches over the big part of the plate, because once he gets locked in on those corners, it's going to be tough sledding.
D-backs out to snap a 4-game losing streak. First of 3 here at AT&T Park in San Francisco. And Ender Inciarte
Looks at ball one. Mark Carlson is our plate umpire tonight. Ender at 292 and 2 homers. Pops it up into that light sky this time of night. Crawford, the shortstop, is under it. 2 pitches, 1 out for Madison Bumgarner. Let's take a look at Chip Hale's lineup tonight for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Ender Inciarte at the top playing left field. A.J. Pollock, good career numbers against Mad Bum. He'll be out in center field. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. Yasmani Tomas, very tough right field here at AT&T Park. He'll be patrolling in right. Aaron Hill at third. Chris Owings at second. Wellington Castillo doing the catching. Nick Ahmed at short and Chase Anderson on the mound.
Here's A.J. 7th in the National League in hitting at 326, and he has tied his career high now with 8 home runs after that game-tying homer in the 9th inning at Dodger Stadium on Wednesday. Wednesday was A.J.'s 5th multi-hit game already in June, hitting 385 this month. Two balls and a strike. Giants come into tonight 7 over 500. Only a game and a half behind the Dodgers for the NL West lead. And once again find themselves without Hunter Pence. He went back on the DL today with left wrist tendonitis. That's in there for a strike. It's 2-2. Pence injured his wrist making a diving catch early last week. He had missed the Giants' last 7 games. Justin Maxwell getting another start in right field tonight in place of Pence. They're also without Blanco, who's on the concussion deal. So a little short-handed in that San Francisco outfield. 2-2 pitch.
As you know, partner, I always pay a lot of attention to the coming up music for the batters and for the music that they play for the pitchers. And tonight, Madison Bumgarner, they featured some Marshall Tucker Band, Fire on the Mountain. I've heard it called a bump, I've heard it called a hill, but I've never heard a mound called a mountain before.
It is when he's on it.
Yeah, I guess so.
2-2. Out in front. Well, Bumgarner from Hudson, North Carolina. 2 out, and here's Goldie. Goldie 3rd in the league in hitting. 349, 2nd in the National League at RBIs and OPS.
Goldie probably the most disappointed Diamondbacks player coming into this series because Tim Lincecum pitched yesterday in New York.
Just missed him.
Just missed.
How about the Mets making the Giants play a night game last night and then fly all the way back across the country in the middle of the night? Couldn't have been too happy.
No, Giants had all kinds of issues at the airport as well before they even got out of New York. Their plane was waiting at LaGuardia, but there was a curfew, so the plane actually had to take off from LaGuardia and land at Kennedy.
Goldie drops that one in front of Aoki, a 2-out single. So they flew from New York to New York.
Yeah.
Well, you can't get enough of those New York airports. Might as well see them all, right? They go to Newark after that?
I don't know where they went after that, but they ended up back here in the Bay Area right around 5 o'clock in the morning. So some of these guys probably operating on very little sleep right now.
And how about that? Meantime, the Diamondbacks here all day yesterday with a day off. Chance to catch your breath. So Goldie at first, 2 down for Yasmani Tomas. Hitting just over 330 with a pair of homers. Got home run number 2 Wednesday night at Dodger Stadium. Up the middle and into center, a base hit for Tomas. Goldie on the run. He heads for third, and he's in there. Tell you what, Bob, we have talked about the need for a productive bat behind Paul Goldschmidt in this order, and Yasmani Tomas is fitting the bill.
He really has, and it doesn't have to be a power hitter. It doesn't have to be a guy that hits home runs behind Goldie. You just need somebody that can make consistent contact, find some holes in the defense, and keep the inning going.
So Goldie at third, Tomas at first. 2 outs for Aaron Hill. He's at third base tonight with Jake Lamb sitting out against the left-hander Bumgarner. Aaron just under 230 on the year and 3 homers.
And Aaron is fighting it a little bit right now. Last 20 games, only 9 of them starts. He has gone 5 for his last 45 at the plate. Not far enough away from Buster Posey for Goldie to advance, and it's 2-0 on Aaron Hill.
We talk about providing some protection for Goldie in the lineup, and Yasmani Tomas doing his best to fill that role. But now you need somebody to get hot behind Yasmani Tomas. Whether that's Aaron Hill in the lineup tonight, or Jake Lamb, or the catcher, whoever happens to be in the lineup on a given night. Obviously, you need some protection for all your hitters. But it'd be nice to find somebody and get them hot behind Tomas.
There's some struggling bats after the cleanup spot tonight for the Diamondbacks. Hill, Owings, Castillo, and Ahmed.
Aaron doesn't have much of a batting average against Mad Bum, only a .233 lifetime hitter, but he does have 2 home runs.
He's ahead, 3 balls and no strikes. Chris Owings on deck. Ball 4, the bases are loaded. 2 singles and a walk have loaded the bases with 2 outs for Chris Owings. Bruce Bochy doesn't see this too often. So here's CO. Chance to put up a crooked number in the first against Bumgarner. You've got to take advantage of these opportunities. Goldschmidt at third, Tomas at second, and Aaron Hill at first. Owings 241, 2 home runs. Another ball. 5 in a row.
We'd love to capitalize right here against Madison Bumgarner. He's only given up 3 first-inning runs all season long. Diamondbacks have a chance to add to that right here.
Bumgarner this year is making his 13th start. He's got more strikeouts than hits allowed. Hasn't lost a game since May 9th. D-backs won 3 of 4 here the last time we were at AT&T Park. That was the middle of April. And in that 4-game series, they scored 22 runs, so offense was not a problem. One pitch coming at you. Of course, Chris continues to search for that swing coming off the offseason labrum surgery on that left shoulder. A long layoff from hitting all winter long. One and 2.
Very early in the ball game, obviously, but Bumgarner struggling with that breaking pitch. He's bounced several of those in the dirt already. Buster Posey's been busy with Goldie down there at third base.
And they always give the starting pitcher the option to fly home early when facing a long trip like they had last night. But Bumgarner, I guess, chose not to do that. He was on the team playing.
We thought maybe it'd be an extra inning game and he'd get an at bat as a pinch hitter.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The bases are loaded. Bounce to Duffy at third, makes a nice backhand stop and gets the force on Tomas, and Bumgarner leaves them loaded. Just underway in San Francisco on Fox Sports Arizona. Here comes Chase. The Giants for the first time in his career. He has allowed 2 earned runs or fewer in 8 of his 11 starts this season, but has just 1 victory to show for it, 9 no decisions, Buck.
How about that? I mean, Chase Anderson is the last starting pitcher for the Diamondbacks not named Hellickson to get a win. That was all the way back on May 20th against the Marlins over 20 games ago. This should be a really good ballpark for Chase Anderson to pitch in. He's throwing more two-seam fastballs, looking for grounders, but AT&T Park very friendly if you can get guys to hit the ball in the air to the opposite field.
He is your Arizona Ford starting pitcher. You see the repertoire there. Chase coming off a no decision his last time out. That was Saturday against the Mets. Gave up only 1 run in 5 2/3 innings. Diamondbacks won that game 2-1. Red hot Nori Aoki leads it off for the Giants. It's in there for a strike on 1. Aoki 336 this year. That's 4th in the National League, right behind Goldie. And his on-base percentage as the leadoff man for the Giants this year is over 400. Number right back to the mound. And a quick out number 1 for Chase. Take a look at Bruce Bochy's lineup for the defending World Series champion Giants.
You see Norioki at the top. He'll be out in left field. Joe Panik at second base. Angel Pagan in center field. Buster Posey doing the catching. Brandon Belt down at first base. Brandon Crawford, big numbers against the Diamondbacks this season. He'll be at shortstop with Matt Duffy at third. Justin Maxwell filling in for Hunter Pence in right field, and Madison Bumgarner on the mound.
Joe Panik.
Well, we got in late last night. I didn't get much sleep.
Joe Panik at 323 now. 6 home runs. He's 8th in the league in hitting, right behind A.J. Pollock. And homered twice in their series against the Mets at Citi Field this week. Red hot, riding a 15-game hitting streak. And Anderson jumps ahead, a ball and 2 strikes. Batting nearly 400 during his streak, including 4 home runs. He's also got the longest active streak of the majors, reaching base safely 23 consecutive games.
I know, partner, I used to always be a little concerned when a team got in early in the morning, got very little sleep. That's when guys just play on instincts. They don't overthink anything, just see the ball and react to it, whether it's defensively or swinging the bat. Let's see how it plays for the Giants here tonight.
Full count, 3-2. Chase Anderson, no other pitcher in the major leagues, has 6 quality starts and only 1 win. For some run support tonight. 3-2 pitch. Runs to first. Goldie will take it himself. 2 up, 2 down.
Well, before Angel Pagan makes his way to the plate, let's take a look at our Valley Honda keys to the ball game tonight. Don't wake them up. They're tired. Just be quiet. Play very softly tonight. Don't wake them up over there on the other side of the field. And let's make a decision here. Chase Anderson, 9 of his 11 starts, he's recorded a no decision. For the Diamondback starters as a whole, 27 no decisions, the most in the majors.
So make a decision.
Make a decision.
Yeah, he's only gotten more than 4 runs of support in 2 of his 11 starts this year. And that's the big reason for that number 9. Here's the slumping Angel Pagan, just under 280. And you'll notice he is still without a home run this year. Just not driving the ball. The extra base hits have not been there. Over the mound, Ahmed behind the bag, double clutches and still throws him out. Nice recovery there by Nick Ahmed. And Chase Anderson works a 1-2-3 first. No score in San Francisco. The Diamondbacks and the Giants.
Bob Brenly back with you. As Stephen Bob mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Madison Bumgarner was encouraged to go ahead and fly back here to the Bay Area. Of course, the Giants getting in at 5 a.m., late game with the Mets on the East Coast, having to come back. Bruce Bochy said earlier today he was strongly encouraged to do that. The trainers told him about, the benefits of doing that. And, he just is hard-headed, as Bruce Bochy put it. And Boch was not happy. He said, we're really dropping the ball with the scheduling. Had some strong words for Major League Baseball schedulers, having to cross 3 time zones, risking injury, need to have day games. So the biggest thing, though, guys, he said Tim Lincecum doesn't do that either. He would not want to leave his team. And Bob, frankly, every time you hear about guys encouraging their pitcher to go, the pitcher never seems to want to leave the team, in my experience.
I played with some guys that were more than happy to leave the team and go on home, but Madison Bumgarner certainly isn't one of them.
Wellington Castillo was single to lead it off here in the second inning, and now here's Nick Ahmed. Apparently Bumgarner felt, one, he'd have to fly commercial. Right. You keep that in mind. You're on the charter with the team, but you're on your own ahead. That's commercial, and there's autograph seekers and whatnot. He also said, I'm not going to get a wink of sleep on that flight. So he just kind of punted on that idea, apparently. 1-1 to Ahmed.
I think a lot of guys just feel that, out of respect to their teammates, they need to be there just in case they need moral support, or as I mentioned, maybe a pinch hit at bat. You never know what might happen in an extra inning ball game, and Bumgarner wants to be part of the team, whether he's starting that day or not.
Called strike 3. Second strikeout from Madison Bumgarner. He makes short work of Nick Ahmed there. Plus, if the plane is grounded for mechanical reasons at all, he can probably fix it.
Good point. Pull out his Swiss Army knife and fix that jet engine.
Chase Anderson. Mad Bum 4-0 over his last 5 starts. An ERA during that span right at 3.5. He has been a little vulnerable to the long ball lately. 6 home runs allowed over those last 5 starts. Anderson squares to bunt. Bumgarner's on it. No play at second. 2 down.
You see Madison Bumgarner on the standard 4 days rest, which is what most 5-man rotations get over the course of the season. He's had 5 starts with 4 days rest, and the numbers are not pretty, but with that extra day of rest, perfect 6-0 with an ERA under 2.
He won at Philadelphia his last start. That was last Saturday. Struck out 11 Phillies, his second double-digit strikeout game this year. Ender Inciarte popped up his first time up. Ender now with a 7-game hitting streak. Batting .345 during that streak. He's hit safely in 15 of his last 17 games. It's in the seats. Ender doing a good job, as he always seems to do, against left-hand pitching this year. Right about 260 or so. That's a 40-point drop from his average against right-handers, but for his career, he's hit about 270 versus left-hand pitching.
Yeah, if there is a weakness in his game at the top of the order, it's the fact he doesn't draw a lot of walks. Only 8 base on balls this season. And he's approaching 250 at bats on the year.
But as he often does, it seems like he's trying to slap it the other way here and get that run home. Pagan in center, shaded over toward left center field.
And Aoki guarding the third baseline out there in left. That's about as close to the line as you'll see a left fielder play for a left-handed hitter.
You can see Maxwell, how far he plays off that line. And Ender, sure enough, knocks it into center. Here comes Wellington Castillo rumbling around third. And he's in there. 1-0 Diamondbacks. An RBI single for Ender Inciarte. And he's now hit safely in 8 straight.
Just grind out those at bats, foul off the tough ones, and hope that Bumgarner makes a mistake you can do something with. And that time a rolling breaking ball about belt high on the inner third of the plate gets banged right back up the middle of the field for an RBI hit.
Big 2-out RBI hit, 2 for Ender, and here's A.J. Pollock now. As Castillo scores from second.
And the Diamondbacks continue to lead the National League in 2-out runs. That's the 121st run the D-backs have scored this year with 2 outs in the inning. Just ahead of the Padres, and the Giants not far behind.
The D-backs already with 4 hits against Bumgarner for 1 2/3. Pollock struck out his first time. Nice piece today on the Fangraphs website talking about A.J. Pollock as one of the best outfielders in the league, and a glaring omission from the leading all-star vote getters. And one thing that it pointed out, his continued growth as a player, that this year he is seeing fewer pitches inside the strike zone. Now less than half the pitches A.J. gets up there are strikes. So pitchers are starting to respect him. A little ground ball to Crawford. They go the short way for the force on Inciarte. Ender comes up with the 2-out RBI single, and the Diamondbacks have a 1-0 lead in San Francisco. Hey fans, don't forget you can fill out your 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot right now. dbacks.com/vote. Voting exclusively online this year. No paper ballots. It's available on your computer. You can vote on your tablet. You can vote on your phone. And you can vote up to 35 times a day. So let's get A.J. Pollock and Goldie in there in Cincinnati this summer. dbacks.com/vote. Buster Posey leads off the second. Chase Anderson, a 1-2-3 first, 3 ground ball outs, which is a great sign for Chase.
Always a good sign. Has that 2-seamer working down in the zone, getting those easy ground ball outs. And why not with the defense he has behind him?
Got that 1-0 lead now after the Inciarte RBI. But he's behind on Posey 2-0. Saw the numbers on Buster, 296 and 9 homers. Shift is on for the Diamondbacks. 3 defenders on the left side of the infield. That's in the seats. Now that the count has changed, it goes from 2-0 to 2-1. Chris Owings, second baseman, was way over, really in the shortstop spot, is now back at his normal position at second. It will change hitter to hitter and count to count with those defensive overshifts. 2-1 pitch. On the ground to third. Aaron Hill knocks it down, recovers, and throws him out. Make it 4 ground ball outs for Chase Anderson.
That one had a little steam on it down there to Aaron Hill. He's playing behind the bag down there at third, fairly deep for Buster Posey, and just absolutely scalded that ball. Aaron able to field it up into his midsection, pick it up, and still throw Posey out at first base.
And now Aaron will go into a overshift with the left hand hitting Brandon Belt stepping in. He'll take his place right near second base umpire Adam Hamari. Belt 295 and 8 homers. The OPS right now a career high.
And Belt starting to show some opposite field power. He had a home run at Citi Field in New York to left center field. Normally this is a dead pull hitter, especially for power.
And the Diamondbacks shift accordingly here.
They're spraying him around a little bit better this year. Hits by direction just about even.
That's funny. 6 of his 8 home runs this year, Brandon Belt, have come away from this ballpark. And that's one thing you mentioned. It's one thing to spray the ball all over the field, but where he hits it for power, usually he pulls for power. And he's homered twice as often in his career on the road than he has here at home. He's got more doubles and triples here at AT&T Park, but a lot more homers away from this ballpark. So it's not that easy to hit it out into that cove.
Especially if you throw some of the wind in that we get here from time to time at AT&T. Generally it blows from the right field corner to the left field corner, which would inhibit those balls going out into McCovey Cove.
And they keep track of giant splash hits. They've only had 68 here in this ballpark's history. Seems like more because once somebody hits one, they show it a million times on the TV. But they only keep track of the hometown club splash hits. Ender and Ciarte, I think, hit the 100th in the Cove a couple of years ago. 3-2 pitch. And he hit a few in there.
Yeah, he did. And just looking at that picture, you can see the different surfaces around the ballpark here. There's areas that are chain link fence. There's areas that are padded. There's brick walls out there. There's all kinds of different surfaces, especially in right center and right field, which is why I said this will be a real challenge for Yasmani tonight.
Putting up a fight here.
And the Diamondbacks kind of taking the lead of the Giants. We've talked about it before in this ballpark. There is no point in guarding the right field line in this ballpark. It's only 309 right down the line. So the Giants always have their right fielders shaded to the gap where it's 421 feet from home plate.
And Chase Anderson strikes out Brandon Belt. Chase wins the battle. 5 up, 5 down so far. His first strikeout.
Good change up from Chase Anderson.
There you can see Tomas. You got to guard Triple's alley more than the right field corner, right?
Well, yeah, if a guy hits a ball down in the right field corner, it's probably a sure double unless the guy is really, really slow. But if he hits one in that gap in right center, it's possibly 3, maybe an inside the park home run. So don't worry about balls hit down the right field line. Try to cover that gap.
Right to Goldie. Chase Anderson 6 up, 6 down so far. He's got a 1-0 lead at AT&T Park.
Didn't know she was a D-backs fan. That's not her. Here's Goldie leading off the third against Madison Bumgarner. Goldie singled his first time. I could have sworn that was Hillary Clinton.
She's got other things to do.
It's better than going to a Diamondback game.
She'd be pressing the flesh, meeting people. Vote for me.
You'll notice we've added some offensive information under our pitch count there, bottom left of your screen. First time through the order, you'll get the batter's batting average, and then the next time through, you'll get all his up-to-date batting information for the ball game. New twist from the boys in the truck. They've been hard at work.
Always throwing new things at us. It's like facing a pitcher and you don't know what he has. You know? What's this guy throw? Well, they like to surprise us from time to time.
3-0 to Goldie. Goldie leading the National League at on-base percentage and runs scored. And Yasmani Tomas starting to click in the order behind him. All four. Second walk issued by Madison Bumgarner. Diamondbacks have had traffic around him on the bases in every inning so far.
Maybe just below the knees a little bit. Bumgarner throwing that cut fastball worked its way from the outside corner to the inner third of the plate, and just a little low in the estimation of Mark Carlson behind the plate tonight.
So Goldie a single and a walk. Here's Tomas, who singled his last time. And we've talked a lot about the need for a consistent producer in the cleanup spot behind Paul Goldschmidt, and Tomas has done a good job lately. He's now hit cleanup coming into tonight 11 times this year, and when he's in this spot, he's hitting .370 with 5 extra base hits and 7 RBIs.
Yeah, the reality is most teams are going to pitch around Goldie regardless of what Tomas does, unless he starts to hit a lot of home runs.
Well, they're going to do it chasing pitches like that. 0-2. This was Yasmani Wednesday, his second of the year. This one off Brett Anderson at Dodger Stadium as he and Goldie went back to back.
Yeah, breaking ball down around the ankles, got underneath it, lifted it high in the air to left field. That was good to see.
Could have had 3 homers in that game. And one go high off the wall for a base hit. Another home run robbed by Jock Peterson in center. 0-2 pitch. But it doesn't have to be home runs per se, right? If he becomes a run producer, RBIs in that spot, then it becomes a problem for the opposition, right?
Absolutely. But as I said, as long as Goldie is still Goldie, he's the guy you want to take the bat out of his hands whenever possible. And you'd be willing to walk Goldie, give up a single to Yasmani Tomas, and then take your chances with the 5 and 6 hitters in the lineup. But if Tomas starts to turn on a ball every now and again, hit it up in the seats, now you're creating some problems for the opposing pitcher.
So you want a little bit of a fear factor in there.
Yeah.
1-2.
Of course, you don't want Yasmani to change anything about his swing. He's been very productive, driving the ball from foul line to foul line.
Well, we had dinner with some of the coaches last night, and they're all in on Tomas. Every one of them told us, boy, he is really a different guy from what we saw in spring training with that bat. And it's really coming around. And it's funny, he's had a lot of converts lately the last few weeks, Yasmani Tomas. Everybody. But Yasmani, it seems, has never wavered. Yeah, he's a little more comfortable and maybe a little more confident, but personality-wise, he's very much the same guy he's been since day one.
Well, he's made a believer out of me. I mean, I saw him in spring training for the first couple days. He was working out down there at third base. That was a scary sight. But he worked so hard at it that it became serviceable down there at third base. Offensively in spring training, we didn't see him hit a ball to the left side of second base for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
But the season started and the hits were coming to right field, then gradually up the middle, and then when he got pitches he should pull, he's been hitting those hard into left field.
Oh, snuck it in the back door there for the strikeout. His third.
I don't know about that one. Big sweeping breaking ball. Starts it way over in that left-handed batter's box. Posey does a nice job of holding it right there on the corner, even though I'm not so sure that pitch was ever in the strike zone.
Mark Carlson says strike 3. Goldie still at first. 1 out now for Aaron Hill, who walked his first time. Big cut at that one.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, you know what that means. Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Hard to believe Madison Bumgarner's 25. Seems like he's 45.
Well, when you pitch in the postseason every year,
it's amazing, isn't it?
Get a lot of exposure. People think you've been around longer than you have been.
That one won't get through. Crawford is on it, and Goldie is there to beat out the force play. And Aaron Hill's aboard. Talked about this at the top of our broadcast. You are seeing 2 of the best defensive shortstops in the league. They did a good job there keeping that one from rolling into center, and Goldie has to stop at second.
Yeah, a lot of shortstops would be content that they just stopped the ball and kept Goldie at second base, but Brandon Crawford feels like he should have made that play and initiated a double play.
So another D-backs threat here. 2 on, 1 out for Chris Owings. They had the bases loaded in the first, couldn't get a run across. Had 2 singles in the second, scored 1 on the Inciarte RBI. 2 on, 1 out for Chris Owings. And Chris Owings, when he's at his best, we've seen him consistently find balls in the gaps down the lines. But coming off that serious shoulder injury last summer, the sock or the oomph, to put it simply, has not been there in his bat. Last 20 games, a span of 77 at bats, he's gotten 1 extra base hit. And he's really fighting that shoulder. And this is a critical bat for the Diamondbacks. You have to give that batting order some depth and some length, as we've talked about, behind 3, 4, and 5. Chris is ahead 2-0. Dribbler foul right to Andy Green at third. And he's never been a patient hitter, Chris. That's kind of not helping things either.
When you get to the major leagues with a reputation of being an aggressive swinger, whether you hit for a high average or not, that gets around the league very quickly. And those pitchers who are able to take advantage of aggressive hackers like Chris Owings, they're not going to give him that pitch he's looking for. They're going to throw a lot of breaking balls, a lot of off-speed pitches, spot the fastball off the corners.
2-1 off the fist. He lines it right to Crawford. Yes, he got it. That's a transfer rule right there. And the out is recorded. If you drop it while transferring the ball from your glove into your throwing hand, that is still a catch and an out.
A good read there by Goldie and Yasmani Tomas at first base. Rule of thumb is freeze on a line drive with less than 2 outs, and that time both Diamondbacks runners got back to their bag, or rather Aaron Hill, excuse me.
Well, Madison Bumgarner only 8 of 15 first pitch strikes so far. Here's Castillo, who singled and scored his first time. 2 on, 2 out. Castillo 2 for 13 since he joined the D-backs from Seattle as part of the Mark Trumbo trade.
He wasn't in Seattle long enough to get a cup of Starbucks coffee.
Right, and that's saying something.
Yeah, they're on every corner.
Base hit. Here comes Goldie. The throw from Aoki is in time. Andy Green gambled. They always
always say make them throw you out. Well, sometimes they do. And Norioki guns out Goldschmidt coming around. And that'll end the top of the third. Posey is there, and so's the throw, but it's still 1-0 Diamondbacks. Took the whole group out to dinner, Derek, last night. We had a great spot right under the Bay Bridge here. All the coaches and a lot of the sponsors with us. About 50 people.
Yeah, good job. Beautiful views.
Yeah, did a wonderful job. It was a lovely evening. Got to meet all the sponsors, talk to them, talk to the coaches. Had a great time. Chase Anderson has retired all 6 Giants he's faced so far. And rookie Matt Duffy will lead off the third. Duffy 283 and 5 homers. This is a guy who played somewhat sparingly in April after Casey McGee was brought in to be the third baseman. And then McGee was designated for assignment, went to the minor leagues. He's now back, but Duffy is essentially taken over third base. Bruce Bochy has insisted he's not committing to Matt Duffy full time. He's just still taking it day by day. It's just Duffy plays all the time. That's headed for the corner, and that's a foul ball. It landed right on the line or just to the left of it. And that was awfully close. Mike DeMuro, the third base umpire, says foul.
The ball hooking all the way down that left field line. See the orange dirt splash on the foul side of the line out there. Very close.
Duffy's a guy who has always done pretty well. And by always, I mean the second half of last year and this year. Against right-hand pitching, and he's hit righties this year. Look at this, 322 against right-handers, including 4 home runs. One reason he plays almost every day now. That's that one the other way. Good fun. And it was McGee for a while. He didn't hit. Got into a lot of double plays like he always seems to do, and so Duffy started playing. And since May 1st, he's hit 300. 1-2 pitch.
And we've seen him pull one deep down the left field line, just foul. Now a couple of foul balls to the right side, which is why you see the Diamondbacks outfielders playing him pretty much straight up. A.J. Pollock maybe a step or two over into the gap in right center, but Tomas in right and Inciarte in left, playing straight away.
There's a lot to like about Matt Duffy. He's a good hitter up there. He's a very good base runner. He's got good speed. He can play all over the field for you. And Bruce Bochy has said, you know, he's playing so well, it's just hard to take the kid out. And so Duffy is getting the lion's share of the playing time. 8th pitch of the at-bat coming up.
Pesky. This is one of those pesky at-bats. Just getting a piece, staying alive. 5 foul balls in a row. 8th pitch on the way.
This is a guy who won a Double-A batting title. 24-year-old 18th round pick. Played at Cal State Long Beach. Had a very good spring, Matt Duffy. Hit over 360 in the Cactus League with 3 home runs.
He's a dirtbag, and proud to say it, from Long Beach State.
Won a job on the opening day roster, and as we head into June, he's pretty much taken over third base. And trying again on 1 and 2. Got him. First giant base runner against Chase Anderson.
Look like it just caught that orange Giants jersey.
A button. They want to be careful with this next guy. It's Justin Maxwell. Now, they don't have Pence. He's on the DL. They don't have Blanco. He's on the DL. But Maxwell, a guy they picked up off the scrap heap, has shown some pop lately. 233 and 5 homers on the year, but he's homered twice in his last 5 games. A pop up the very shallow left. Ender's coming in, and he's got it for the first out. And here comes Mad Bum, and as we know, you got to be careful here, because he's a hitter. Grand slam against the Diamondbacks off Matt Stites here last July.
This drives Bruce Bochy crazy, because it used to drive me crazy. Randy Johnson pitched with his left hand, but batted right-handed. Same thing for Madison Bumgarner. He has a small pad on that left elbow as he hits here.
Here goes Duffy. He gets through Castillo. Matt Duffy is a very good base runner up there. And he takes second, no problem. Got a good jump.
That almost looked like a pitch out. I think Chase Anderson slipped a little bit on the mound out there. I mean, that ball is way over in the left-handed batter's box. He immediately looks down at the dirt under his feet.
They ruled a stolen base. He was running with the pitch, but as you can see, there was no chance for Castillo to throw out Duffy, who gets his second stolen base of the year. A ball and a strike to Mad Bum.
There's a lot of pitchers in the National League you would see after the runner advanced to second base, they'd ask him to put down a sac bunt to move him up to third. But I think Bruce Bochy views this guy just like another hitter in his lineup. He doesn't want to give him up with a sac bunt.
Good athlete, big dude up there, 6'5", 235. One and two. Red hot leadoff man is on deck, Norioki. The two best hitters are 1-2 right now. Aoki and Panic. That's in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Diamondbacks so far have had 6 hits and 2 walks against Madison Bumgarner, but only 1 run to show for it. Inciarte, an RBI single in the second with 2 outs. Two pitch. It's full.
Be overthinking this Madison Bumgarner at bat just a little bit too much. I mean, he is a good hitter for a pitcher. But I think if you just work that outside corner, make him hit the ball to the opposite field, if he does hit it, he doesn't have opposite field power. He does have pull power. And that's only occasional.
Do you ever have the fans write a song about you while you were playing here? A Bob Brenly song or cheer, chant?
No.
Well, we found one that with Nori Aoki that's picked up, of course, a lot of steam in Japan, and it might be catching on here as well. I'll have that for you in a second. I always like to keep you on the cutting edge of the pop culture stuff.
I love it. 3-2 pitch. That's the only way I'm going to find out about it.
So he walks the pitcher, and here is the song for Nori Aoki. Describe some of the lyrics for you, but that's what they would play all the time in Japan. And now Giants fans are wondering, since he's so hot, he's got an 8-game hitting streak, and he's 4th in the league in hitting, that you're starting to wonder, should we sing that song for him here? Been a terrific acquisition in the offseason.
Feels like something you would hear at a Saturday afternoon football game.
Yeah. You now move to further ahead in the action on the replays. Aoki comes into tonight with an 8-game hitting streak. He's hit safely in every game this month. 17 hits in 8 games in June. And at second, and Duffy is back in tonight. Aoki opened the year with San Francisco by hitting safely in his first 9 games. 15 hits in his first 9 games as a Giant. Hit over 300 in April, hit 314 in May. He's hitting about 500 here in June. A couple of hits yesterday in their loss to the Mets. That's in there first round, 1-1.
And he's actually drawn more walks this year than strikeouts. Coming into play tonight, he had 17 punch-outs on the season. He'd walked 22 times.
Of course, played against the Giants last year in the World Series. With Kansas City. Shelf, and they have Duffy hung up. How about that? Chase Anderson is out of the inning. Aaron Hill just tall enough, and Duffy, who was flying off second with that line drive. Jackson with you. Diamondbacks lead the Giants 1-0. 3 hitless innings so far for Chase Anderson with some help from his third baseman Aaron Hill, who made a terrific play to win the bottom of the third.
Yeah, saved at least a run, maybe a couple of runs if that ball gets all the way down into the left field corner.
Nick Ahmed leads off the fourth against Madison Bumgarner and belts a base hit into left field. The 7th hit for the Diamondbacks. All of them singles. Yeah,
3 of the Diamondbacks' 7 hits in this ball game have come on the first pitch against Madison Bumgarner. We heard Chip Hale talking about that before the ball game. You want to attack him early when he's in that strike zone, because once he gets ahead in the count, he's going to leak it out on the corners. He's going to start throwing breaking balls in the dirt, throwing cutters in on your hands. So if that first pitch is in the zone, attack it.
Bumgarner has not lost a game since May 9th, but has not been sharp here tonight. 7 hits and a pair of walks. Here's Chase Anderson. Wants it foul up the first baseline. Chase dropped down and sacrifice bunt, his first plate appearance. Down in fair territory, belts on it, it's got 1 play. And they move Ahmed along, 1 out. Two successful sacrifice bunts for Chase Anderson tonight. Done a good job.
He leads the Diamondback staff with 2 more tonight. He now has 6 on the season. He deadens that ball perfectly right where you want it, on the first base side. Make Belt come in and make the play.
Chance now for Ender Inciarte, who has driven in the Diamondbacks' only run. A 2-out RBI single in the second. He's 1 for 2. So Ender's hit safely in 8 straight. Bounce to first. Belt has it. Ahmed's in at third. 2 outs. A.J. Pollock.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
A.J. Pollock has struck out and hit into a fielder's choice. 0 for 2 so far. Talking about the write-up that AJ got at the Fangraphs website today, and it said he's seeing fewer pitches inside the strike zone, now less than half in fact. But despite that, he's actually expanding a strike zone less than he did last year, and so the numbers show he is becoming more and more disciplined up there at the plate. Seeing fewer strikes and swinging at fewer pitches. And he's had a tremendous month of June. 5 multi-hit games already in June. 7 extra base hits and 9 RBIs. Ahmed at third with 2 outs. This was AJ. Big homer. 9th inning at Dodger Stadium off closer Kenley Jansen that tied it up.
You don't get much bigger than a game-tying home run off the other team's closer. AJ absolutely blasted that ball to left field.
Yeah, how about that month of June? 385. And the home run was his 8th. That ties a career high already. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Just inside, it's even 2-2. Go back to the middle of May. It's basically been a month during which A.J. Pollock has hit about 400.
Chases that one and misses. Posey completes the strikeout, and Bumgarner strands the leadoff single. Bottom 4 coming up. Diamondbacks lead it 1-0. And second baseman Joe Panik, a career-high 15-game hitting streak coming into tonight, batting nearly 400 during his streak with 4 homers.
Yeah, he really solved a problem for the Giants at that second base position after Marco Scutaro kind of went south in a hurry. They had a revolving door out there for quite a while, but Joe Panik has settled in and has taken that job by the horns.
And he leads off the 4th against Chase Anderson. Panik finished 6th in the National League Rookie of the Year voting after he took over as their everyday second baseman near the end of June last year. Gets this one up in the air along the left field line for Inciarte. 1 away. Mentioned that Angel Pagan does not have a homer this year. It's a lot worse than that. He's without a home run this season in about 250 plate appearances, but it's been more than a calendar year. He grounded out his first time up, so Angel Pagan has now gone 509 at bats since his last home run.
Wow, that's a whole season's worth of at bats.
The second longest streak in the majors behind Dee Gordon, who's obviously not a home run hitter. He's at 599 ABs without a homer, but Pagan is really fighting it right now. 5 for his last 41. But other guys have picked up the pace. We talked about Aoki and certainly Panik. Brandon Crawford has had a good year with the stick, leading the Giants in homers and RBIs. And Posey's Posey. But as we've so often said, this is the guy who always seems to make them go. They don't have Pence without Blanco as well. 1-2.
And the Giants, when they did have Hunter Pence in the lineup, 7 games over 500. Without Hunter Pence, they're 1 game under 500. I mean, we know how much he means to this team, even when he's not hitting the ball. He's very much their emotional leader. They're really missing him.
And Pence has not played since last Tuesday. And on the DL today. That was after he jammed his left wrist on a catch in the outfield. Developed wrist tendonitis. There you go. Of course, he suffered that non-displaced fracture of the bone in his left forearm March the 5th. Was hit by a pitch first week of spring training games. So his whole season has been a washout so far. He's only played in 18 games all year.
We talk a lot about the Diamondbacks and lengthening the lineup, adding another good hitter to that lineup, especially a guy like Hunter Pence, who's able to hit the ball out of the ballpark. Great base runner. You take him out of this Giants lineup, it's a different look.
Chase 50 pitches, 33 for strikes. That one's in the seats. And so they look to Pagan, and he just has not been able to answer the bell this year. He was hitting .336 the middle of May, but he's dropped by 60 points over the last month. So roller to second. Owings is in front of it. Goes across his body, and that's another ground ball out for Chase Anderson.
Good range up the middle of the field by Chris Owings. Manages to get in front of that ball and then throws off balance on to Goldie, and plenty of time to get Pagan at first base.
2 down for Posey. And Posey's begun picking up his pace offensively lately. Rounded out his first time up tonight, but he's got 10 hits over his last 6 games with 6 RBIs. Big cut at that one. 0-1.
Elevated fastball up in the upper quadrant of the strike zone right there. That's a pitch Buster Posey doesn't usually miss. Right back to it again. If he'll swing at it once, maybe he'll swing at it twice.
Just missed there. It's 2-1. Not a whole lot of wind blowing out. Very softly to right field. That's the flags in right center. A lovely night by the bay in San Francisco.
That's the first non-fastball that Buster Posey has seen in 2 at-bats in this ball game. All fastballs until that straight changeup right there.
2-2. Puts it in the air to Tomas. Backing up. He's got room in front of the wall out there. And Chase Anderson has faced only 1 past the minimum through 4. He leads it 1-0.
Now, I asked Chip Hale earlier today, what did you think of Yasmani hitting 3 balls really hard at Dodger Stadium? One of them was a home run. Brett Anderson, obviously he was seeing pitches coming out of the lefty's hand pretty well, and Chip admitted that, but he said, look, I think he had a little extra something going, that competitive spirit against his countryman Yasiel Puig. And, you know, really Chip thought that was part of it. And Yasiel Puig obviously had a home run in that game. He also had 4 hits in that game. But Chip certainly thought that Yasmani had a little extra fire in that game.
Goldie leads off the 5th. Thank you, Jody. Loss on deck. Aaron Hill behind him. Diamondbacks with 7 hits against Madison Bumgarner so far, but only 1 run. Goldie has been aboard 3 times, 2 singles and a walk. These players are all Cuban.
Yeah, making their presence felt in the major leagues. Go back to March 28th of 2012. Jimenez Cespedes kind of broke the seal, and it's been a steady stream of really good ball players ever since.
Jose Abreu, Jorge Soler can put on quite a show. He's still very much a work in progress. So here's Tomas, who has singled and struck out looking on a borderline at best pitch his previous at bat.
A long look in that time by Madison Bumgarner after not getting the call from home plate umpire Mark Carlson. A little politicking out there. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to wave your arms. Just stare in there a little extra long so he knows that you think he missed a pitch.
The subtleties.
Yeah. You know, most umpires will let you get away with subtleties. You know, as long as you're not waving your arms or walking toward home plate yelling at the umpire, they'll let you question a pitch or two. Some guys do it so subtly you don't even know they're asking. You know, they'll just point their finger toward the ground. The umpire will nod his head. Yeah, it was low. But if you come screaming off the mound yelling, "Where was that?" You're going to have some problems with the home plate umpire.
Do you find as a catcher when you're up there you can get away with a little more because you have a running dialogue with the umpire over the course of a ball game?
It depends on what that dialogue has been about.
The weather?
Yeah.
2-1. In the hole. Duffy. There's 2. Joe Panic completes the double play.
Wasn't hit particularly hard. I thought maybe Yasmani might have a chance to beat that out at first base. Duffy has to go several steps to his left. And Goldie tried to get on Joe Panic down there at second base and disrupt that relay throw, but just enough to get 2.
Mad Bum fired up. 2 down for Hill.
You know what really helps as a catcher, if you have a good relationship with a plate umpire, is to get on him early, even while the guy's warming up. The first 8 warm-up pitches before the first inning. Boy, it's a good night for you. You picked a good one tonight. This guy has been so on his stuff. Everything's working for him. He's hitting corners. Lucky night for you.
That doesn't seem a little obvious?
Sometimes, yeah. And then, maybe he throws a borderline pitch just off the plate, and he's going to be there all night. I mean, he'll hit my glove wherever I put it. Stay with him now. Stay with him. And then if they miss a few more, then you start yelling.
That's when things go south.
I told you.
Well, I'm sure umpires love to be told they're wrong. Probably don't hear it very much.
Long-time umpire Dutch Rennert used to sit behind you when the pitcher was throwing his warm-up pitches before the game started, and after the last warm-up pitch he would always lean over and say, "Let me know if I miss any." Don't worry, Dutch, I will.
Base hit for Aaron Hill. Aaron's been aboard all 3 times he's been up there. 2 singles and a walk. So that's a welcome night for Aaron, who was 5 for 45 coming in.
Hard ground ball finds that hole on the left side of the infield. As you said, he's reached base all 3 at bats, an infield single back in the 3rd. He walked in the 1st, and now a 2-out single into left field.
Goldie's reached all 3 times he's been up. Hill's reached all 3 times he's been up. Castillo has 2 singles. Here's Owings, who's 0 for 2. Diamondbacks have 9 hits so far against Mad Bum, only 1 run. He's also walked 2. Mark Carlson behind the plate. Well, he's getting that. Geez, the guy wins a couple of World Series games. All of a sudden, he's getting all the calls.
Yeah, he needs a bigger strike zone, right?
This is there. It was quite a show. Wow, watching him pitch the way he did. Answered the bell every time. Through 217 innings last year during the regular season, Madison Bumgarner. That was a career high. And then a major league record for workload in one postseason. He threw 52 2/3 innings in the playoffs in the World Series. So 270 innings for Bumgarner last year, the most by a Giants pitcher since 1973. 2-2.
Some guys just have that innate ability to rise to the occasion when the lights are shining the brightest. I mean, baseball history is littered with guys. Will Clark in the '89 National League Championship Series just went off. And so did Mark Grace, for that matter, in the losing team with the Cubs. Curt Schilling has been a guy that when everybody's watching and expecting big things, he's been able to go out and do it.
He strikes out Owings. 5th strikeout for Bumgarner. We go to the bottom of the 5th in San Francisco. Diamondbacks lead it 1-0. Returns to Fox. You'll see your Diamondbacks take on these Giants. Coverage tomorrow is at 4 o'clock, only on Fox. So don't forget Fox National Game with Bob Brenly tomorrow. Back on Fox Sports Arizona for the Sunday series finale. Then it's off to Anaheim. Through 4 innings so far, Chase Anderson has faced only 1 over the minimum. He has yet to allow a base hit. He has hit a batter and walked 1. Brandon Belt leads off the 5th.
And the hit batter and the walk came in the same inning back in the 3rd, but he got the big double play on a line drive off the bat of Norioki.
Belt struck out his first time. Shift is on for the Diamondbacks. He hits right into it. Owings from the outfield grass on the hop, and he throws him out. 5 in a row now, set down by Chase. Well, not a lot of room for error here. We've talked about all the no decisions and the lack of run support for Chase. He's given up 2 earned runs or fewer in 8 of his 11 starts this year, but only 1 win to show for it. And so far so good with a 1-0 lead. Here's Crawford, who lined to Goldie his first time up. Leading the Giants in homers and RBIs. There's a strike on 1. In fact, no shortstop of the major leagues has more RBIs than Brandon Crawford. And his 9th home run of the year yesterday at Citi Field against the Mets. And Chase is ahead 0-2. Crawford has hit safely in 6 straight games and 11 of his last 13. There you go, since the beginning of last season. Leading all big league shortstops in runs batted in. And Chase strikes him out on 3 pitches. Just the second strikeout for Chase Anderson, 2 down.
Let's take a look at this day in Major League Baseball history, brought to you by Geico. We go back to June 12, 1997. After 126 years of Major League play, the first interleague game in history is played when the Giants beat the Rangers 4-3. Darrell Hamilton Hambone got the first ever interleague hit, and Glenn Allen Hill became the first DH in the National League.
10 of 15 first pitch strikes for Chase Anderson. There's another one. He's ahead of Matt Duffy. And now we're stuck with interleague play.
Yeah.
Commissioner Brenly, would you get rid of interleague play if you could?
I think it served its purpose. There was a time when interest in baseball was waning, and I think interleague play brought a lot of people back to the ballpark to see players that they didn't normally get a chance to see. But unfortunately, as we've moved forward, interleague play has really messed with the schedule. Look out.
He's hit 2 batters in the ball game. Duffy twice.
That was a breaking ball that just got away from Chase that time. Slipped out of his hand.
Both times he's hit Duffy, he's been ahead in the count 0-2.
That ball never took any break. That's right about where he started the pitch, expecting it to break down over the inner third of the plate, and it didn't take any break.
Well, ends a stretch of 6 in a row retired by Chase. He's had 3 base runners, a walk to Bumgarner, and he's hit Duffy twice. Here's Maxwell, who flied out his first time.
On the first pitch. Be careful on that first delivery. Maxwell, a very aggressive hitter.
He's homered twice in his last 5 games. He started their last 3 games in right field. Gregor Blanco out on the concussion DL. Hunter Pence back on the DL with a wrist injury. And Maxwell's been a nice pickup for the Giants. They signed him as a non-roster player around Thanksgiving last year. That one kicks away from Castillo and over the backstop.
Castillo just didn't get his entire body out there in front of that breaking pitch. Chase really having some troubles with his curveball here in this inning. Just can't get it to take the break, and that time he finally got it to break and pulled it over into the left-handed batter's box.
Two 2-0 to Maxwell. Green 1. Bumgarner, the pitcher, is on deck.
Look at Justin Maxwell in that right-handed batter's box. He's listed at 6'5" in the Giants media guide, and about 6 feet of it is legs. This guy's got some long legs. Really comes in handy when he's running down fly balls out there in right.
It's full 3-2.
Throw that change up in any count to any hitter. Just has ultimate confidence.
Yep. 70 pitches, 46 for strikes. Duffy at second, 2 outs, 3-2. Got it up in the air. Very shallow left center. A.J. can't find it. And Inciarte saves the day. A.J. Pollock just could not find the baseball up there, it appeared. And Ender comes in from left to keep the Giants without a base hit through 5. It's 1-0 Diamondbacks. Pollock had no idea where that high fly ball was to shallow left center.
Yeah, anytime you see an outfielder outstretch his arms with his palms pointed up, that means I have no idea where the ball is. And Ender Inciarte alertly sprints over from left and makes the catch on what is just a routine pop-up into shallow center. Good awareness there by the left fielder.
And so Chase Anderson has worked 5 innings without giving up a base hit. Wellington Castillo, who's 2 for 2, leads off the Diamondbacks 6th against Madison Bumgarner. A pair of singles, he has scored a run. Oh, 2. Madison Bumgarner has never had a start in his career in which he's allowed at least 9 hits and 1 run or fewer. Right now, 1 run on 9 hits for the D-backs. So 2 to Castillo is strike 3. 6 strikeouts for Mad Bum. There's Nick Ahmed, who has struck out and singled. Nick had base hits in each of the last 2 games in LA. And since his average got down to 130 a month or so ago, he's been just about a 300 hitter.
That first pitch, you know, we listened to Chip Hale talk about attacking Madison Bumgarner early in the count. 6 of their 9 hits in this ball game have come on the first or second pitch. So Diamondbacks sticking to the game plan here against the lefty.
Chase Anderson will be next. A pair of sacrifice bunts tonight.
It has been quite a turnaround for Nick Ahmed after the slow start. First 27 games, you can see the numbers: only 10 hits, 1 extra base hit, 1 run driven in. His last 27, however, he's been a big part of this offense.
Long period of adjustments for Nick at the plate. And he's talked a lot about that, all the mechanical stuff they've worked on with him, trying to free himself up. He's worked with Mark Grace, he's worked with Turner Ward, Chris Cronus here as well. Trying to see that ball a little better, keep his head still. And as a result, he's really stopped chasing as many pitches as he used to. And is ready to attack up there. He's off that one, it's even 2-2.
Getting back to that game plan that Chip Hale and Mark Grace, Chris Cron came up with against Madison Bumgarner. If there's one thing that ticks off Chip Hale, it's not sticking to the game plan. Coaches do a lot of work in the video room, analyzing advance reports, watching a lot of videotape, and they come up with what they think is a game plan that could beat the opposition that night. And as long as the players stick to the game plan, even if it doesn't work out, I think the coaching staff and Chip are fairly happy that the guys follow orders, follow directions, and go up there and try to do what they want them to do.
Bumgarner loses Ahmed. That's the third walk tonight issued by Mad Bum. And another chance for Chase Anderson to drop down a bunt here with one out.
But if you get out of your lane and start freelancing a little bit away from that game plan, that's when you'll get Chip's goat a little bit.
Well, I imagine that would be the case for any manager. Right?
Yeah, pretty much, unless you're successful going out of your lane. You know. It seems to especially happen with pitchers, where you give them an idea of how you want to attack opposing hitters in that lineup, and they go out there and do things that you didn't talk about in the advance meeting.
Ahmed is off the bat and he's back in time. Brian Gorman, the crew chief, is down there. They had Ahmed dead to rights, and somehow, according to Brian Gorman, he snuck back in there.
Wow, very close right there. You know, on the rotation, Belt is charging and Panic is coming over from his second base position. Nick slipped ever so slightly as he tried to stop his momentum. Tough to tell from that angle, but it looked like he had that left hand on the bag.
Bruce Bochy is standing at the top step of the dugout waiting for the review. Ron Wotus is on the phone.
I think this is one of those ones that could possibly be so close you don't want to risk losing your challenge this early in a ball game. Tough to tell even in slow motion.
Yeah. Bochy has gone back in the dugout, so it apparently will not be a challenge here. Gotta have that clear and convincing evidence that the call on the field was incorrect. So it's a 1-0 count on Anderson. One out. Ahmed still at first. Duffy coming in on the grass at third. Bunts it up the first baseline. Belt has a play. Bunted it right at him. And it's a double play. A one-hop bunt right to Brandon Belt, who was coming in from first. And the Giants turn two. Bottom six coming up. Diamondbacks lead it 1-0. Through 5 innings has yet to allow a base hit. Diamondbacks have 9 hits against Madison Bumgarner, all 9 of them singles. He's also walked 3, but so far just 1 run across, an Ender Inciarte RBI single with 2 outs in the second. In the meantime, Chase, he has walked 1, he has hit 2 batters, Matt Duffy twice, and he has just 2 strikeouts, but so far the Giants have a 0 in the hit column.
There's that good two-seamer going when he needs a ground ball. The changeup is excellent as usual. The curveball's been a little inconsistent for him. He's thrown some good ones like that one right there to strike out Brandon Crawford. He's thrown some bad ones.
Madison Bumgarner, the pitcher, will lead off the sixth, though it's Bumgarner, Aoki, and Panic 9-1-2 for the Giants. Bumgarner walked his first time. The only walk issued by Chase so far. Giants, as we mentioned, played a night game in New York last night against the Mets and then flew all the way across the country. They had some airport problems getting out of New York City as well, so they got in here in the wee hours. They might be dragging a little bit. Diamondbacks in the meantime. We got here late Wednesday night, early morning after our game at Dodger Stadium, so we've been here all day Thursday. Everybody had a chance to sleep in, relax, enjoy some sightseeing, some vacation. A day off in San Fran, not a bad dig. That's got to stick in your craw if you're the home team. You have this long road trip. You fly all the way back to your place, middle of the night, cross country, and the other team you're going to play has been there all day. Sitting there with their feet up.
It happens more often than you might imagine. Of course, Major League Baseball and the Players Association have rules about playing night games and flying east where you lose time, but no such rules apply when you're coming from the East Coast to the West Coast.
And West Coast bias. He did not go, says Brian Gorman, and so it's 3-1 to Bumgarner. Of course, the Giants, we've talked about their injuries and all they've been through, road trips and whatnot, but despite that, since April 20th, Bruce Bochy's club has gone 30-17. That's the best record in baseball over that span. But they do come into tonight having lost their last 5 home games. Full count to Mad Bum. There you go, best in business since April 20th. How about those Twins, man? Nobody saw that coming.
They got off to a horrible start out of the chute, but they have really picked it up.
Astros are having some issues lately. All right, to Ahmed.
Now it's time for the timeless moment brought to you by Coors Banquet. This is close to my heart here. Go back to the 1981 season, June 12th. Major League Baseball experienced its first in-season work stoppage. 50-day strike resulted in 712 games not being played in the major leagues. We were playing in the minor leagues, and that was my golden opportunity. Frank Robinson and Tom Haller, the manager and GM of the Giants, came down to Phoenix to watch the Phoenix Giants play. I happened to have a pretty good run there and was called up immediately after the work stoppage.
Okay. Inciarte's there, 2 down. Well, you've always been pro-labor. Aoki, who's hit in 8 straight, is 0 for 3 so far. And here's Panic. He's hit in 15 straight. He's 0 for 2.
I mean, you want to talk about a little extra pressure. We're playing a AAA game with the big league manager, the big league general manager, a ton of scouts because they had nothing to do. There was no Major League Baseball games. Every game we played during that work stoppage of 81, the entire section behind home plate was just filled with scouts and coaches and managers.
I'm going to guess that you guys noticed.
Oh, yeah. It's hard not to, you know, when you've got 150 people at the ballpark and 100 of them are sitting in the scout seats.
Now, was that a Rocky Bridges team?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did Rocky get nervous at all?
Rocky never got nervous about anything.
Pitch by Chase. He's ahead, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I'm sure there's some D-backs fans out there that watched the Phoenix Giants play down at Municipal Stadium under Rocky Bridges. That was quite an experience for the players, for the fans, for everybody.
That was the team with the horrible uniforms, right? Was that it?
Yeah, we had some bad unis, yeah.
Pink, red stripes or yellow hats or something.
Horizontal stripes on the hat like the old Pirates hats.
Oh, man.
White shoes and orange sanitary socks. We had it all going on.
Ahmed is there. A 1-2-3-6 for Chase Anderson, who has yet to allow a base hit. Diamondbacks lead it 1-0. In part by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Mix One, great taste, no face, available at local retailers.
Some balls hit hard in the sixth against Chase Anderson, but right to defenders as we bring you back. No hits through six for Chase. D-backs up 1-0, and as I'm sitting next to the dugout, everything seems pretty normal in there, guys. I'll tell you what, his teammates getting water after he's chatting with Nick Ahmed. One thing about Chase, though, even on game day, he's the type of guy a lot of pitchers don't want to talk to media, and sometimes Chase will walk up to you, say hi. But everything in the dugout, cool, calm, and normal so far.
And we start the seventh inning with Ender Inciarte, who's got the only RBI of the ball game, leading off against Madison Bumgarner.
Same seats, same thoughts. It's a motto when a guy is doing what Chase Anderson is doing tonight. Sit in the same seat you were in last half inning. Think the same thoughts.
Up the middle, over the mound, Crawford behind the bag. The last inning, the sixth for the Diamondbacks, was their first inning without a base hit against Mad Bum. And in fact was the only inning in which he faced just 3 batters. He's at 90 pitches right now. 57 for strikes. Here's Pollock, who's 0 for 3, struck out twice.
Boy, partner, it seems so odd to see Nori Aoki playing left field here for the Giants. When he played right field for the Milwaukee Brewers, he played with his heels on the warning track. He did not want to allow a ball to get over his head. But playing left field here for the Giants, he's playing relatively shallow for A.J. Pollock.
Yeah, big time.
He might not be comfortable doing it, but that's where the Giants spray charts say that they want their left fielder against A.J. Pollock.
1-2. A.J. Pollock and Chris Owings, the only D-back starters tonight without base hits. 2-2 pitch. Tap to second. Panic. 2 down. Sunday on the 10th inning. We'll talk to some Diamondbacks about their favorite local hot spots. Catch a glimpse of their lives away from the ballpark. It's the 10th inning. Presented by CenturyLink. The local 9 this Sunday at 4 and 10 only on Fox Sports Arizona.
And you can see by the flags out there in right center field, the wind has turned around. It was blowing pretty much out to right field in the early part of the ball game. Now what it usually does, blows from the right field corner toward the left field corner.
Goldie, who leads the National League in on base percentage, has been aboard all 3 times up tonight. 2 singles and a walk. Coming off that 4-hit night at Dodger Stadium Wednesday. Triple shy of the cycle and his 100th career homer. Big cut at that one. 0-2.
Fastball up. That's what you're always looking for from Bumgarner. Anything up there around the belt. He's usually down at the knees with some downward movement. If you see a pitch up there around the belt, you're almost obliged to swing at it. That's just a show me fastball there. 0-2. Try to change Goldie's eye level a little bit. He did the same thing to A.J. Pollock in his at bat on an 0-2 pitch.
Pitch number 100 from Mad Bum on the way. A ball and 2 strikes, 2 outs.
It's a pitch he's been getting with regularity in this game. That backdoor cut fastball, little baby slider.
A 100 pitches, 63 strikes, 2-2 to Goldie. Goldie walked in the 3rd. Coming into tonight, he had gone 2 straight games without walking or striking out. Just the 2nd time all season that had happened. And the other was the first 2 games of the series at Philadelphia, middle of last month. So we're starting to see a few more pitches than we've seen in the recent weeks or so. He strikes out Goldie to end the 7th. 7 strikeouts for Bumgarner. Here's what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. Chase Anderson heads out to the mound here at AT&T Park after 6 hitless innings.
San Francisco. Our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool plays of the game. Some defense tonight behind Chase Anderson.
Big line drive to third base that Aaron Hill turned into a double play. This is a great play by Ender Inciarte to recognize that his center fielder couldn't see the ball and hustle over there. And then a little soft liner to Nick Ahmed. He was ready to jump if he had to, but was able to stay on his feet and make the catch.
Chase Anderson has hit Matt Duffy twice. He has walked the pitcher Bumgarner, the only Giants base runners so far tonight. Pagan, Posey, Belt 3, 4, and 5, and the Giants 7th. Angel Pagan has grounded out twice, 0 for 2. Just 5 for his last 42 at the plate.
Partner, it's been 27 games since the Diamondbacks have had a starting pitcher go 7 complete innings. That was Ruby De La Rosa back on the 12th of May. Chase Anderson hoping to do that here tonight.
Mike Harkey, the pitching coach. Little flare out to left, Inciarte. 1 away. Here comes Posey.
Yeah, Buster Posey, a lot of similarities offensively with Paul Goldschmidt. One of them being he loves to attack that first pitch. 5 of his homers have come on the first pitch this year when he's hitting .581. Be careful of that first delivery.
Posey has grounded out and flied out. That's in the seats, 0-1. Buster Posey, last 6 games, he's got 10 hits and 6 RBIs. Two and 1. Off Anderson. And Posey will reach. And I will check Chase. Ken Crenshaw, the trainer, and Chip Hale. Well, no pitcher has ever thrown a no-hitter against the Giants in this ballpark. And that trend will continue.
There's a middle of the plate fastball, caught it on the outside of the right leg, maybe on the calf of his right leg. I was hoping there would be enough time for Wellington Castillo and or Aaron Hill to get to that ball and throw Posey out at first base, but it just got over there on the left side of the infield and died.
Last opposing pitcher to throw a no-hitter in San Francisco, the Marlins' Kevin Brown, in June of 1997 at Candlestick Park. There's my wife Cindy sitting right behind Anna Anderson. I just got a text. I'm sitting behind Chase's wife. And she can, I guess, take a deep breath. There's Anna. Blonde, lovely blonde gal right in the center of your picture there. And the bullpen will get busy for the Diamondbacks.
Personally, I think that's a really good idea. I've seen a lot of guys who carried a no-hitter in the later portions of a ball game, and when they give up that first hit, it seems like it just collapses on them. I'm certainly not hoping that's not the case with Chase Anderson tonight, but just to be sure, Chip Hale's got some activity down there in the bullpen.
As a high school senior in Texas, Chase Anderson went 12-1 and threw 3 no-hitters. He's ahead of Brandon Belt 0-2.
Oliver Perez, the lefty. Randall Delgado, the right-hander, warming up for the Diamondbacks. Belt has struck out and grounded out 0 for 2. Shift is on for Belt, even with Posey at first. Ahmed all by himself on the left-hand side of the infield. No one anywhere near the left field line for the Diamondbacks. Skies it to left center field. Pollock and Inciarte. Ender is there. 2 down. Well, the funny thing about tonight is that Chase, who had been so good and has been pretty much all year long, had been getting hit a little more often as of late. Over his first 8 starts this year, he gave up more than 5 hits in a game only twice. But in his previous 3 starts, he had allowed a total of 28 hits. And so far tonight, just 1. Brandon Crawford 0 for 2. A little roller to Hill at third. The Giants get a hit, but Chase Anderson keeps them off the scoreboard. He's got a 1-0 shutout through 7 in San Francisco. June 21st, Father's Day against the Padres. First 10,000 dads get this D-backs Dad t-shirt courtesy of Audi. And then on Saturday, July 4th, a fireworks spectacular show following the game against the Rockies, presented by Gila River Casinos. You don't want to miss either of these holiday games, so you can get your tickets online right now at dbacks.com, and we'll see you at Chase Field for Father's Day and the 4th of July. Those are 2 holidays you should be at the ballpark.
Absolutely.
Father's Day, 4th of July, baseball, the whole thing. How about Chase Anderson, Bob? We've talked about this ad nauseum here. Boy, he has really stepped up with just what they needed.
No, absolutely. I mean, we've talked about it all season long. You need to start to get deeper into the ball game, give that bullpen a little bit of a rest, and Chase Anderson took it upon himself tonight to pitch 7 complete up to this point. Let's see if he gets to go back out. I would imagine that shot off the bat of Buster Posey, he's still moving around in the dugout there. He probably doesn't want to sit down and let that thing tighten up.
Well, they had Perez and Delgado warming, but once he got out of the inning, both of those pitchers sat down. Looks like Daniel Hudson is now throwing and moving at a pretty quick pace down there in the Diamondback bullpen. And Manny Tomas leads off the 8th. Here's a strike, 1-1. Now, as Manny singled in the first, he's 1 for 3. He has struck out and hit into a double play. D-backs have out-hit the Giants 9-1. They lead it 1-0. On a one-hop to Crawford. He plants and throws. Hey fans, baseball is in full swing and it's happening all around us, so grab a Pepsi and some friends and get out to a D-backs game and live it. It's for the thrill of the game. Pepsi, live for now, the official soft drink of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Here's Daniel Hudson. Aaron Hill's had a good night, a walk and a pair of singles. Talk about keeping your team in the game if you're the starting pitcher, and even if it's not your best night, finding a way to get some outs and just kind of hang in there for a while. Look at Madison Bumgarner on the other end of this against Chase Anderson. This guy's given up 9 hits, but they've all been singles. He's walked 3, and here we are in the 8th inning, and it's still just 1-0.
107 pitches to this point. His season high is 110.
Pop up, short right field. Maxwell coming in. They do have Hunter Strickland warming up in the Giant bullpen. 2 outs now for Owens. CO 0 for 3. He's aggressive up there.
That was a better swing that time by CO. He kept his feet underneath him. He's fallen into that bad habit again of releasing that back foot, kind of sliding that right foot as he's swinging.
Bumgarner now at 110 pitches for the ball game. As Mark Grace has worked with CO tirelessly along with Turner Ward. And again, pass our best wishes along to Turner and his family. Bumgarner hasn't gone over 100 pitches since May 21st. 3 straight starts under 100 pitches. And here he is at 110 and counting. Owens lifted in the air toward the right field corner. Maxwell has one. And Bumgarner has now retired 7 in a row. Bottom 8 coming up. Diamondbacks lead the Giants 1-0. Francisco, what a night for Chase Anderson. 7 innings of 1-hit ball. He walked 1, hit 2 batters, had a couple of strikeouts. He is our Arizona Federal Credit Union player of the game, and after
96 pitches, 64 for strikes. His night will end here.
I really think this is the byproduct of that base hit right there off the bat, Buster Posey. Anybody that's ever been whacked in the calf muscle, I mean, especially with a batted ball that was probably traveling around 90 miles an hour when it hit him on the back of the calf, I'm sure that thing is very tight right now.
Well, Daniel Hudson will work the bottom of the 8th. Huddy coming off that disappointing night at Dodger Stadium Wednesday. He pitched a 1-2-3-8, but in the 9th gave up back-to-back walks and then a Howie Kendrick RBI single for the walk-off winner. And he'll open it up against Matt Duffy, who's been hit twice by Chase Anderson tonight. I'm sure Duffy's happy to see somebody else up out there on that mound. How do you head 0-2?
Pitcher spot due up third this inning for the Giants. You'll certainly see a pinch hitter. They do have one left-handed bat available off the bench. Jarrett Parker just called up from the minor leagues. He's a left-handed hitting outfielder, but Casey McGee, the veteran third baseman, has big numbers against Huddy.
Well, 0-2, nothing new for Matt Duffy. Been down 0-2 all 3 at bats tonight. Diamondback bullpen is busy. Oliver Perez and Brad Ziegler. And Aaron Hill's a staple to that third baseline down there. And Duffy bangs it into left for a single. Just the second hit for the Giants. Leadoff man aboard in the 8th. Take a look at our Chevron upcoming pitching matchup. Series finale here Sunday for you on Fox Sports Arizona. Fox National tomorrow. Ruby De La Rosa for the Diamondbacks and Chris Heston. Now Heston in his last start no-hit the Mets earlier this week at Citi Field, and he hit 3 batters in that no-hitter.
That has a chance to be a really good matchup. A guy that has already thrown a no-hitter and a guy that we expect to throw one at some point in his career.
Justin Maxwell 0 for 2. Jarrett Parker is in the on-deck circle. He would hit for Bumgarner. This will be his major league debut. His first at bat in the big leagues coming up. Keep your eye on Duffy as well. He's a good base runner down there. Here's Casey McGee.
If indeed Parker's the guy to take the at bat in the pitcher spot, that would give you 3 left-handed hitters in a row for the Giants. It seemed like the easy thing to do to go to Oliver Perez in that situation. But you saw Casey McGee lurking over there in that third base dugout. He's actually got better numbers against the right-hander Daniel Hudson than he does against Oliver Perez, the lefty.
To Justin Maxwell. Duffy holds it first. That one gets behind Castillo, and the tying run is in scoring position with nobody out.
No chance for any catcher to get in front of this ball. This is a 96-mile-an-hour fastball over in the middle of the left-handed batter's box. Some indecision on the part of the Diamondbacks infield. Goldie wants to know where they want him to play. Should Maxwell try to put down a sac bunt to move Duffy up to third base in this situation?
1-1. Well, he's getting a little wild here. Remember, he retired the first 4 he faced in Dodger Stadium Wednesday night before he walked Puig, walked Gonzalez, and Kendrick had the walk-off single. Perez the lefty, Ziegler the righty. 2-2.
Daniel Hudson changeup really has a lot of wrist action at the very end. The hitter thinks it's going to be one of those mid-90s fastballs, and ball has a lot of diving action at the very end.
Maxwell will barrel up a baseball now and again. He's homered twice in his last 5 games. Got him. Another changeup from Daniel Hudson, and that's the first out. Now they have recalled the on-deck hitter. That was Jared Parker, the rookie, and Casey McGee is out there. Change up from Huddy.
Yeah, back-to-back change-ups to finish that sequence. Both of them with a lot of late movement. Maxwell swings right over the top.
So 1 out. Duffy is the tying run at second. Here comes Mike Harkey to the mound, and Casey McGee will hit for Bumgarner. Casey McGee under 200 for the year. There are the numbers on Bumgarner. 9 hits, all of them singles. Walked 3 and struck out 7. Retired the last 7 he faced. Casey McGee just back to the Giants lineup a week ago. After he was designated for assignment, went down to the minor leagues. He was at AAA Sacramento for 10 games. Hit about 360 there, a couple of home runs. And now he's back as the backup, signed in the offseason from the Miami Marlins, where he was an all-star last year.
There's those crazy numbers we talked about, McGee against Hudson. And Casey McGee was at his best playing for the Milwaukee Brewers back in 2010. He drove in 104 runs, and in situations like this, he almost exclusively tried to drive the ball to the opposite field.
Now they got Duffy hung up. They run him back to the bag, and Aaron Hill applies the tag. So they get the lead man. McGee reaches. And that's the second out here in the 8th. Boy, Daniel Hudson duck and cover out there.
Well, we've seen that shift take a lot of base hits away from opposing hitters this season, and the fact that CO was playing right up the middle of the field that time fooled Matt Duffy. He thought that ball was going to get through into center field, but Chris Owings was right there to make the play and toss on to Aaron Hill for the out.
So that's a fielder's choice. 4-5 on the putout of Duffy at third. McGee the runner at first. 2 outs for Oak. He was 0 for 3. An 8-game hitting streak on the line. He's hit safely in every game this month. "17 hits in 8 games in June for Nori Aoki, but only 1 of those hits for extra bases. Ziegler the right-hander, Perez the left-hander. The 1-0 pitch. Hit by Bill Hayes at first.
Mentioned all the lefties lined up in a row for the Giants here at the top of the order. Well, 2 left-handed hitters and a switch hitter, but you see the numbers for Aoki. He hits lefties very well.
McGee is an extremely slow base runner down there at first.
He's in the snail base clogger category.
Makes you wonder why Paul Goldschmidt's not playing right behind him, right off his hip. Still able to hold him on the bag, but give yourself a little more range. He doesn't need it.
It's it right to Goldie, and Daniel Hudson is through the 8th inning. We go to the 9th at AT&T Park. The Diamondbacks hanging on to a 1-0 lead. That was the Cox Gig Life high-speed highlights. 9th inning in San Francisco. Diamondbacks lead the Giants 1-0. The closer is on for San Fran, trying to keep it a 1-0 game. 18 saves this year, 4th most in the league for Santiago Casilla, the big right-hander. Wellington Castillo leads off the Diamondback 9th. Castillo has a pair of singles tonight. He scored the game's only run. Bob, you said in your keys to the game, make a decision. Diamondbacks trying to get Chase Anderson that decision and the win after he was terrific. 7 innings of 1-hit ball.
And the other key was don't wake him up, and so far the Giants have kind of sleepwalked through this game offensively. He did hit a few balls hard. There was a couple of nice defensive plays behind Chase, but for the most part he was able to execute his pitches and get some easy outs.
0-2. Chase Anderson tonight, the 14th pitcher in Diamondbacks history to complete 6 innings without allowing a base hit, and the first since Trevor Cahill in September of 2012, which coincidentally, not ironically, was also here at AT&T Park. Chase tonight, 7 scoreless innings, a career best, allowed just 1 hit. Misses, and it's even 2-2. Nick Ahmed is on deck, and it looks like with the pitcher spot behind him that we'll see Jake Lamb bat for Daniel Hudson. 7-8-9 here in the Arizona 9th. There's Jake Lamb. Did not start tonight against the left-hander Bumgarner. 2-2 pitch. It's full. Castillo knocks it into the gap in left center field, and it rolls to the wall. Wellington Castillo chugs into second with his third double this year. It's a nice insurance run standing out there with nobody out in the ninth.
He gets in those predictable counts and gets a fastball right in the middle of the plate. Wellington Castillo real good at hitting predictable fastballs. Gets that bat started a little early and a ringing double into the gap in left center.
That's a 3-hit night tonight for Wellington Castillo. 2 singles and a double. So here's Nick Ahmed. Nick has singled in the 4th and walked his last time up. 1 for 2. Jeremy Affeldt, the left-hander, starts warming up at the Giant bullpen. It shows bunt, but bunts it foul.
It's kind of funny how this game works. Santiago Casilla is the closer for the Giants. If this was a save opportunity, if the Giants were ahead 1-0, he probably wouldn't get Affeldt up in the bullpen. He'd let Casilla finish the ball game. But because it's a 1-run deficit for the Giants, he's got a left-hander up behind his closer.
So the numbers would suggest you should do that regardless of the save situation or not. Started a whole new sabermetric controversy.
Just what we need.
Don't have enough of those. 0-1. Now Posey and Casilla can't get together.
Of course, who am I to second guess Bruce Bochy? He's had 700 wins as a manager with 2 different teams. Padres and the Giants. Only Jim Leyland, Tony La Russa, and Sparky Anderson have also recorded those numbers.
Giants last season 88 wins, second in the division, 6 games behind the Dodgers. But they won that final National League wild card spot, went on to win the World Series, their 3rd in 5 years. And still can't get the bunt out. No team has repeated as a World Series champ since the Yankees won 3 straight from '98 to 2000. He's had him playing very well as of late, as we mentioned, since April 20th. 30-17, the best record in baseball every other year. 0-2 now to Ahmed. In the air, Aoki in left, coming in. That's the first out of the 9th. Hey fans, next Saturday, June 20th, the Diamondbacks and the Padres, 7:10 start. You can pick up your D-backs backpack, courtesy of Gila River Casinos. You can get your tickets now at dbacks.com. We'll see you at the ball game and pick up your backpack. Well, Lamb has been announced as the hitter, and here comes Bruce Bochy. He's had Affeldt, the lefty, warming up, and he wants him here. Diamondbacks trying to hang on to a 1-0 lead in the 9th inning at San Fran. Back after this. Comes to Fox and Fox Sports 1 for the first time as the greatest golfers in the world meet on the Pacific Northwest for a chance to stamp their names in the history books. Exclusive coverage of the 115th U.S. Open Championship live from Chambers Bay Golf Course begins June 18th on Fox Sports 1, Fox, and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Diamondbacks threatening here. Wellington Castillo on second base, 1 out. Jake Lamb will hit for the pitcher. And here from the Giant bullpen is left-hander Jeremy Affeldt, who has struggled in these very situations and struggled badly as of late. Affeldt, left-hand hitters batting .357 against him, and they are 8 for their last 17. And that's one reason why his ERA is up over 5. Affeldt has allowed 7 hits in his last 12 at-bats with runners in scoring position. And there's Castillo at second.
Now you've seen 2 of his 3 pitches. First pitch fastball, that time a big sweeping curveball. He also throws a split finger for a changeup. Usually only uses a split against right-handed hitters.
Jake, .333, a homer and 10 RBIs. Lamb doubled Tuesday night in LA. He had a pair of hits and an RBI in the series at Dodger Stadium. Did not play Wednesday night. 2 for 13 since his return from the foot injury that kept him out 42 games. 2 balls and a strike. That's in there, 2-2. Keep in mind also Castillo is a very slow base runner down there at second.
I was just thinking possible pinch runner David Peralta is available and may come into this ball game as a defensive replacement for Yasmani Tomas in the bottom half of the inning anyway. But so far Chip willing to roll with the guys he has.
It's tough when it's your catcher. Chip just does get a piece to stay alive. Brad Ziegler. Oliver Perez had been throwing out there as well. He is sat down now, and Brad is ready for the 9th. Panic, Pagan, Posey due up. It's a tall order. 2-2. It's full. Ender and Ciarte on deck. Three-two pitch. Wellington Castillo had 12 hits all season with 3 different teams coming into tonight. 3 for 4 tonight, 2 singles, a double. He scored a run. Another 3-2 to Jake Lamb. Ball full.
Good at bat.
So now 2 on and 1 out for Ender and Ciarte, who steps in against Affeldt. He's got the only RBI of the ball game. A 2-out single in the second to score Castillo from second base.
A little soft liner into center field, got the job done.
And that was it. 1 for 4. Ender has now hit safely in 8 straight and 16 of his last 18. Castillo at second, Lamb at first. There's a strike on 1. That looked to be a little bit outside.
It's going to take a very well-placed hit by Ender Inciarte to score Castillo from second base. Aoki in left, Pagan in center, both playing very shallow. Maxwell has a gun out in right field.
0-2. Mark Carlson behind the plate.
First one was borderline away. That one borderline down, but he gets a call on both of them.
Yeah, this situation, those are tough pitches for Ender to swing at there. Just does get a piece of that one to stay alive. He's hit about 260 versus lefties this year, Ender in CR10. Missed away, 1-2. That one was not close.
Not
Chinese
even
fans are
close.
upset.
He's way off the plate. Buster's half a body off the outside corner there and caught it on his left side.
Left-hand hitters 8 for their last 17 against Affeldt. The 1-2. It's even 2-2. It's got to be tough to be patient on those sliders that are tailing away from you after the first two close ones were called strikes. Pollock on deck. And they're able to hold up there, and he's worked it back full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Affeldt 14 pitches so far, half of them balls. Three and 2. Got him. 2 down.
All right, at the bottom of the strike zone, middle of the plate.
That's a really good pitch right there. You've got the right-hander Pollock coming up. Looks like Hunter Strickland is coming in. Back in a moment. you can't find anywhere else. You'll get post-game analysis and reaction from the clubhouse. Jack McGruder's minor league report on Zach Godley, a minor league all-star, one of the pitchers acquired in the Miguel Montero trade, and Craig Morgan with the latest on the Coyotes saga at Glendale. All that and more right now. Fox Sports Arizona.com. Hard-throwing right-hander Hunter Strickland on at 2.61 ERA. And work to A.J. Pollock with 2 on and 2 out in the ninth. A.J. 0 for 4.
Strickland, the guy that really likes his fastball. Average heater sits right at 97 miles per hour. He's also come up with a 2-seam sinking fastball. He's got a pretty good breaking pitch. But for AJ, this is one of those at bats with Goldie lurking in that on deck circle. He knows he's going to get something to hit here, and with Strickland being a fastball pitcher, get ready to hit his fastest pitch.
Wellington Castillo at second and Jake Lamb at first. Here's the 1-0.
Rip 6. Yeah.
Strickland became a valuable piece of that Giant bullpen during their postseason run last year.
Over a third of the plate where AJ can get his arms extended just under it a little bit.
He's got that pat too that we've seen from big Enrique Burgos, who picked it up from Jonathan Broxton. They pat that ball hand into the glove just as they deliver the baseball. Strickland became sort of infamous for his meltdown in one of the games at Kansas City. 1-1. Little tapper, that's fair, and Strickland is on it, but there's no play to be made. Pollock's aboard, and the bases are loaded for Goldie. Swing and bunt
is a thing. That's what the hitters call it. Take a full cut, just top the ball down that third base line, outrun the throw to first base. That's a knock.
Well, now Strickland is really in it up to his eyeballs here. 1-0 ninth inning, 2 outs, bases loaded for Paul Goldschmidt, who has singled twice and walked. We've got Castillo at third, Lamb at second, Pollock with excellent speed at first. Goldie third in the league in hitting, second in the league at RBIs and OPS. Ball 1. 2 outs and runners in scoring position. He's hitting over 470. Aoki tops the list at 522.
A little different style of hitting with the bases loaded. Aoki as opposed to Goldie.
Aoki's got a pitch to him here, but nothing yet. 2-0. Coming off a 4-hit night at Dodger Stadium Wednesday. Six is in there. It's 2-1. Mark Carlson behind the plate.
He's been wide on that side all night long. Calling some of those Madison Bumgarner cutters off the outside corner strikes.
There's no way Goldie can swing it down on 2-0.
No.
Bases full of Diamondbacks. 2 outs, 2 balls and a strike. Back to the mound. Strickland's on it. And the Diamondbacks in a 1-0 game leave them loaded. Brad Ziegler coming in. Bottom 9 coming up.
And here is the closer, Brad Ziegler, to try and lock this down for Chase Anderson, who tonight pitched 7 innings of 1-hit ball. And your theory on this, Bob, in these situations with Brad Ziegler is theoretically it takes 3 hits to beat him.
That's the idea. Brad throws so many ground balls. Occasionally those ground balls will find holes in the infield as David Peralta takes over in left as we anticipated. Ender Inciarte moves over to right field. Yeah, but you know, most of the time Brad's able to keep the ball in the ballpark. If he gets a runner on base, he's always 1 pitch away from a double play.
Well, he's got his work cut out for him. It's the 3 Ps in the Giant ninth. Panic, Pagan, and Posey, 2, 3, and 4. Joe Panic, a 15-game hitting streak coming in, but he's 0 for 3. Panic batting nearly .400 during his 15-game hitting streak, including 4 home runs. There's the strike. It's 2 and 2.
A couple of low strikes in this sequence to Joe Panic.
Wow. Well, Tapper to second. Owings is there. 1-1.
That's one of those ones the hitters will complain as they run back to the dugout to the umpire. I had to swing at it. You were calling everything down there. I couldn't take it.
Here's Bochy complaining too. So here's Pagan. Panic muttering as he walks back to the dugout. Angel Pagan 0 for 3. He has twice grounded out, flying out his last time up. And just 5 for his last 43 at the plate. There's the strike on 1. This guy is such a key hitter for them. He's their 3-hole hitter right now. 4 RBIs in his last 23 games. This is away, and it's even, a ball and a strike. Advantage Ziegler. 2-1 is in there. Now Pagan's unhappy.
Well, I tell you, if you're a catcher and you're able to pull pitches, especially low pitches, back up the way Wellington Castillo does right here, you're going to get a boatload of called strikes with Mark Carlson behind the plate.
Well, Bruce Bochy's got a point. So now, like we just saw Panic do, you got to swing at anything down there, right?
Yeah, and instead of a 3-1 count, where you could possibly sit on a fastball and be ready to jerk it out of the ballpark, you're in a 2-strike hole and you got to battle.
Running dialogue going on there. 2-2 pitch. It's full. Posey will be next. He's got one of the 2 giant hits, a single, his last time up in the 7th. On the ground to Goldie.
He beats Pagan to the bag. 2 outs. Here's Buster Posey. Posey singled in the 7th, 1 for 3. He and Duffy have the only Giant hits tonight. As Chase Anderson was terrific. 7 innings of 1-hit ball. Hudson worked the 8th, and here's Ziegler in the 9th. Aaron Hill at 3rd. Ziegler shuts it down, and the Diamondbacks beat the Giants 1-0. They snapped that 4-game losing streak, and how about a long overdue W for Chase Anderson?
Yeah, he deserves it tonight. He was as good as we have seen him this year. Was a little inconsistent with his curveball, but his other pitches were outstanding. Boy, it's been a long time since the D-backs made a 1-run lead stand up the way they did tonight.
They got an Ender Inciarte RBI single with 2 outs in the 2nd inning. And that turns out to be the game's only run. They out-hit the Giants 11-2 and win it 1-0, getting the victory for the king of the no decision as they make a decision for Chase Anderson. Diamondbacks live postgame show is next year on Fox Sports Arizona. Jody Jackson will have reaction from the clubhouse as the D-backs open up this 3-game set at San Francisco with a 1-0 win over the Giants. Back with more from AT&T Park right after this. Diamondbacks live postgame show is next right here on Fox Sports Arizona.